Hello everybody and welcome to Excelsior Rising at Chaotic Neutral Games. Big apology for that as I started streaming this stream on my own bloody personal channel rather than the community one. Anyway, I'm Simon, your storyteller for tonight, as we join Dave, Christy, Joseph and... What? Joseph? It sounds like he's in trouble. Joe, he's not in trouble. And Helen as they adventure in our parallel London. Don't forget, you can help or indeed hinder. Check out the options in the chat bar below. You can join our community by finding the Discord link, which you'll be able to find in the channel notes, or support us in what we do by becoming a subscriber. So, with no further ado, let's start episode 7 of Excelsior Rising. And we're back. Hello to everybody in chat and welcome to our players. I've been asked to start off by explaining something, and that is boost, setback and asset. So a boost or a setback is something that happens for the session. If I don't manage to fit it in, because you've thrown me some tangential ones in the past, then it rolls on to the next time. And we try to find a way of fitting it in the next time. The boost basically gives a blue dice to a roll that is relevant. So, for example, well rested would work with resilience, for example, or maybe perception, because well rested you are bright-eyed, bushy-tailed and aware of your surroundings. Vigilance would be a good one for that. So that's a modifier that if the players think it's relevant, they can pitch to use it. If I think that taking the piss, I'll go, yeah, no. But for the most part, I will just allow it. So, as long as you can describe something that would take place, and it's not too far a stretch of the imagination, you can't put something in that changes the story. Only small conditions. So, as I say, well rested, feeling good today, feeling confident, dressed up, anything along those lines. The players can then use those keywords to pull in those dice if it's relevant to what they're doing. Then the same is true for setbacks. So setbacks would be the opposite. Lost a night's sleep, skipped breakfast, distracted by something. You can specify the
hungover.
Something. Hungover, certainly. Hungover is definitely a viable thing. And that will start to burn setback dice. Both of these D6s, by the way. And the setback dice, mostly I will apply. So I will be looking for opportunities to throw this in. We've had before an example of bad weather. So, for example, if it's winter, at the moment it's summer because it's summer here. You could say icy roads or icy pavements. So if they did a chase scene, I may even throw bonus setback dice on top of the normal one they would have because I think it's super relevant. I think it hits a number of times. Then finally there is create an asset. So an asset is something in this world. It can't be magical, it has to be mundane. So for example, you can throw in, I think we already have, a massage therapist is one of them. And you also have a mystic. Now, those are permanent. They're permanent features. And if the players want to go to them, the fortune teller, even though I've said not non-magical, as the world gets revealed to be more magical, some of the things you may have suggested I may make magical. So the fortune teller would be an interesting one. Either this is a magical entity that is the real deal, or a complete hack and you're going off to see Psychic Sally. Either way, fun will be had.
Psychic Sally isn't real.
I would love to go to Psychic Sally.
Dave's brother Mike played an equivalent of Psychic Sally in a first of all a ghost story that we did, which was NWAD, and then we ported all the characters into Call of Cthulhu. And I think one of the best Call of Cthulhu stories I've ever seen. We put this person up against the Hound of Tindalos, and I won't go into the story now, but it was perfect. So yeah, that's the type of thing you can do with an asset. And feel free to write as much as you want about it to a certain extent. I've got to remember it. But it could be that a friend or an NPC that you remember from one of the episodes sends you something. That can happen. Yeah. Again, you can't change the story. So it has to be, for example, that maybe the politician that you spoke to before has sent you a contact, somebody who can look into things, one of their analysts, maybe. Yeah, it could be all sorts. So yeah, just give it some thought. And what we're looking is when you're hitting this, rather than just spamming dice into the game, that you're putting a bit of flavor in. And that's the thing; it's flavor, not changing the story. So when we left off, things had started getting interesting. Mr. Knight had revealed himself to be a crown. We know this because he used his abilities on Ilka, played by Helen. Ilka was forced out of the scene and to go home. And after that, Mr. Knight called up and tried to force you to give him access to Avalon, which thankfully you made your saves just in time and started giving him some spiel about you'd have to get kind of codes from IT and things like that. And you sent him what is you're going to send him what is effectively a USB stick full of complete scribble. But he won't know it's scribble until he tries to crack it. Christy, or Beth. Actually, no, I'll start with Kate. So Kate got Star to open a door back to the Gherkin, and you went through with the girl inside. You had a very interesting conversation, and the girl inside said to you, "What? You haven't been told what this is all about? You should have been told by now." Which, of course, got Kate somewhat inquisitive.
Yes.
And we got rid of the girl inside by Carla taking her away. Carla did not seem surprised about the girl inside and said, "Any of your bullshit and I will throw you off the stairwell." So kind of suggesting that Carla knows about how the girl inside can work. However, instead of going through the door with you, Star and Beth went back to the party and gave Benjamin the book, the beautiful gift, perfectly chosen to get on his good side and make it feel appreciated. He took it in good graces, was very happy about it all, and instead of shutting you down, what the book did, because I don't think that was made that clear, he was going to shut you down, but you charmed him. And as a result, he turned around and basically told you what Knight had told him. That Avalon is, for all of its virtue on the surface, Avalon is just going to be a huge data mining operation, getting as much of people's metadata as possible and selling after the highest bidder. You said, or Beth said, that you're almost certain that this is not the case. He seemed absolutely convinced, almost irrationally so. And you managed to convince him, again, due to some both good roleplay and good rolls. You convinced him to come to the Gherkin and speak to the powers that be there and, state his concerns. And if he still believes the same thing when he leaves, sure, no problem. That was the offer. He took it as a very reasonable offer. And so when we transition to the next day, midday, he's coming in for lunch. Okay. You are in order, leaving the party for Star and Beth. Kate is in her office, mulling over the problems that you guys caused in chat, which means the PR department is going freaking crazy right now. After the oh no, don't worry, we weren't making fun of people who get abducted. We were just doing the rescue the dolls thing. It was no. So they're doing that, and somehow My Little Pony dolls got involved as well. So as a whole kind of promotional thing, which when all said and done, blame it on Pinkie Pie. It's fine. Ilka is at home, and after shaking off the influence of Mr. Knight, ended up doing something that's a little profound for the rest of you. Ilka explained away her powers and doesn't believe she has them. Okay? Because you rolled a despair. And you're currently in a state of self-disbelief. So, I'm going to start with Kate. The bullpit is an absolute scene of chaos. Cacophony as people are contacting or responding to stakeholders and concerned associates to the company and trying to deal with the press and all sorts of other things. And you being the ringleader, you are taking some of the more difficult bits and then just hoping that your training of everybody in the bullpit is paying off. So what's going through Kate's mind at the moment?
She wants to fire people. No, she's stressed. She's stressed out. There's a lot of stuff going on at work. For most of the day, she's actually neglected work, and that's like the first time she's ever done that. So there's a part of her which is like in completely new territory. So she's on double time now to get everything sorted. Yeah. Which is why she's not taken a kind view to all the stuff that's been going off with the dolls and the My Little Pony and stuff. Things which she still would never have been 100% okay with, but might have just overlooked as long as they weren't in her way, are now irritating her. So she has barked orders to get all these My Little Pony dolls cleared out, by the time of close today, and had people running around getting rid of boxes. But she's also still very much aware of all the stuff that the girl inside told her. So she wants to get that sorted as well. And she's actually thinking that more of a priority than dealing with the PR stuff at the moment. Okay. So she will have told somebody that as soon as Carla comes back from her little errand, Kate wants to talk to her. Okay. Bring her to my office straight away. Sure. All of the stuff, unless chat decides to mutiny on me, all of the My Little Pony stuff will get cleared away. Okay. But anybody who's paying attention will notice that Kate now has a Princess Luna doll on her shelf next to her hand puppets of Sooty Bear and Sue Panda.
I'm going back in time, man. I'm going back in time. Okay.
Yep.
So, you obviously the place jumps at your command. You've kind of garnered it that way, and it doesn't take long for everybody to be marching to your tune. Star, are you going to transport Beth by cane or just calling a car?
I feel like Star's going to attempt to, like, almost get out the phone, like, innately to go call a car. Like, get on the, like, second ring, and then suddenly realise he's holding a cane.
Yeah.
And then to close the phone, put it back in his pocket, and then look for the closest cupboard.
Yep. So Beth, Star, goes to a cupboard, raps on the door, opens it up, and it's opened up to your office if you want.
You know I have access to drivers, but this is efficient, I guess.
Like, I'm...
Go on. Apologise for teleporting someone across the city.
If you want, I can call a driver. You don't have to use the...
We're here. Thank you. You know, you're very sweet, Star. You're almost too sweet.
If you want, I'll pop in and I'll make sure you have a drink first.
I don't want anything from you. I don't need you to do anything for me. You've done enough. And then
well,
she
you
walks
sure?
away.
What have I done? What have I done?
Just waves him off.
Star honestly feels insulted that he's not allowed to help.
Yeah, bear in mind, Beth just went through a huge amount of "you're useless, you can't do anything for yourself." So there's a little bit of I get where it's coming from. So Star, what are you doing?
What building's going to be closer to Ilka?
You're all friends, so you know where Ilka is. You just have to imagine a nearby place. I was going to say a surreptitious place, but you've kind of got right now that when you use your abilities, people don't realise it.
Well, no, I was meaning out of Excelsior and the place I am now.
I would say Excelsior is probably closer.
Yeah, so what Star's going to do is he's going to go through the door following Elizabeth, close the door behind him, walk downstairs, go to get his phone out again, get on the second ring, close the phone, and then find another cupboard.
There's a driver going, it's another prank call, but it's from inside the company.
Oh, no.
So, yes, and thank you for wearing pants. So there have been streams. Believe me. So, thankfully, none of ours. You got that closed, and you know places that are nearby, and because no one's ever reacted to you using this, you're just like, bang, open a door, and I'll say you pop out to you pop out of the staff door of the nearest Costa, which is about 3 minutes away from Ilka's place.
Well, immediately Star is going to think, I'm here now. He'll go around to the front and then go to order a Costa for Ilka.
Okay, sure. Yep, you get Ilka's order.
Yep.
Yep, sure. And once they give it to you, although you have a feeling you could have done it faster. You get it and you head over to Ilka's. Beth, when you walk through that door, you realise that sound doesn't necessarily carry through that much, because when you walk into your office, there is this absolute chaos that you can hear because the door is open. to your office, and your suite, and you can see that Kate's not on a meltdown, but you can see that Kate is is in high gear.
Oh.
And you can
So
see Carla
I'm still
walking
wearing.
upstairs.
I'm still wearing the evening gown. Probably a little tipsy
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I see Carla. What does Carla look like? Like, is she mad too?
Carla's pissed, but but not at anyone nearby. She's marching back with a kind of, and fucking stay out kind of kind of demeanor, rather than daggers and going for someone. You've seen it before, especially in a lot of these celebrity parties. It's the daggers and heels. Kind of.
Yeah.
It's the heel charge, isn't it? It's the high heel charge. She's not doing that. She's not in heels, but she's coming down off anger. That I'll give you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go inside my suite. I don't have time to make my mimosas, so I just get a shot of vodka and then change my hair and clothes to be in a power suit like Kate's, but more glamorous, and heels.
Hey.
Yeah. You look at the mirror to visualize it, and you find that makes it a lot easier. And
yes,
last time it was a little more of a thing. Now that you kind of know you can do this, you just shrug, and it just.
Okay. And then I'll look at my hair and like, no. And then I'm gonna try and mimic Kate's hair.
Sure. And with the hair, you kind of tussle it.
Stressed.
Yeah. Oh, if it's tied back in the what they call it, Chelsea facelift.
That's Kate's style, because like I said in the description, she never lets her hair down.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So basically you just do this with your hair, and it just turns into Kate's hair. You can feel to a certain extent that your hair is the way it normally is. All you've done really is just swept back your bangs a bit. But the way it looks exactly like Kate's hair now. And now you look like in your opinion, a slightly better prepared, and preened Kate. But you, obviously.
Probably with higher heels and,
Yeah.
a little bit more leg.
Yeah. What I want to say, because this is your second glamour now, is Beth the type of person who would correct parts of like her skin or her curves or something like that? Or is she the type of person who thinks, no, I don't need to mess with that. You don't mess with perfect,
She wouldn't do that. She would think that's fine.
Yeah.
She wouldn't think that it could do blemishes or parts of her body anyway. She would think like if she has a pimple, she would use practical things to do that.
Okay. Okay. Is that because you don't mess with perfect, or is it just that you're kind of like, no, that's me. I sort that out myself?
She's just older and she just accepts how she looks. Cool. If she was going to do something, alter it, she would have did it years ago.
Yeah. And this is important. If all of a sudden you can start looking like whatever you want, why do you choose not to? It's the whole mystique thing. They didn't dive into it enough in the films, but they do in the novels. And in the novels, why she chooses to only ever use her shape-shifting when she has to. Okay, so you stride out every bit the perfect businesswoman, and to the point where Carla completely ignores you. She doesn't even recognize you in this suit, and certainly with the hair, with the executive hair, she actually walks past you, whereas ordinarily she'd tip you a nod, and things because you've got to know her, and she's shaking her hands basically as if to loosen up, trying to almost shake off the rage that she felt a few seconds ago. And she goes into Kate's office. And you're just a little behind her, so if you want, you can tailgate your way in.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Okay, so Kate, Carla comes in with a new... Oh, no. And it takes you a hot second to realise this is Beth. But you know her so well, it only takes that second.
I think in contrast to Beth's appearance, Kate actually has one loose strand for the first time ever.
Oh my god.
Like, she's cracking up now. That's it. This is the end.
You've got, what's his name? Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal, I'm in a fight scene, you know, because one hair has come loose.
Yeah.
Okay, Beth comes in looking completely different. And Carla says, you asked me, Kate?
Yes. So, that woman you just threw out of the building for me.
And she
thanks
snarls.
for that, by the way.
She actually snarls when you say it.
Thanks for that, by the way. It's good to know that you've got our back whenever we need you.
Yeah, you just say the word.
She was talking about a lot of stuff, and I get the impression you might know a little bit about it as well. And I want to make sure that the stuff she told me isn't just some sack full of vipers.
She walks to the door of your office and closes it. Dumps herself down in the chair and rubs part of her leg. You think like maybe it was leg day or something, and says, "Yeah, go on, shoot."
So she's talking about. Well, okay, let's lay this on the line. Some pretty weird shit has happened the past few days. Let's start with Star being able to teleport with a magic stick. That's probably top of the weirdest stuff.
Yeah. Well, the faithfuls do tend to go first.
Yeah, we've seen illusions and stuff, and yeah, need to know what's going on. And
yeah,
I think
you do.
I think you might.
I think
you might know.
I do. And sorry, but best way for you to come into your power is to kind of be on your toes for a bit. Trial by fire, that kind of thing. I can't tell you everything. You're going to need to speak to the boss for that.
Well, I'm hoping to do that later, but I didn't want to go in there just with the side of the story that whoever that girl was said.
All right. So she, as far as we can all can tell, she is you, and she turns around and points to Beth. She's you. Only
she will never be me.
Yeah, but different.
But what do you mean? What do you mean by that? I mean, the way she was talking, there's like 4 of them and 4 of us, and some kind of mystical balance going on between us, and a war that we have to fight. So, are we? When you say she is Beth, is there some connection between the 2 of them, or is it just that they are opposite counterparts?
Let's go with that for now. Violette will explain it a lot more.
And speaking of Violette, I've got a meeting with her and Benjamin at lunch, Kate. That's what I meant to tell you. And then she puts her hands on her hip and tries to stand like Kate.
Thanks, Alan.
That's good. I don't think I'd want to talk about any of this in front of Benjamin at the minute. But I would like to get a meeting with Violette. So you do your meeting first, and I'll try and arrange one for afterwards.
But yeah. I want you there.
I can come along to that if you want, but I'm not going to talk about any of this in front of Benjamin.
Yeah.
If you want me there, I'm there. You know that.
He's a muggle, mate, to use the Harry Potter thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you.
Wait a minute. What are you? She points to Carla. Are you one? And she looks. She's different. Like looking in her face, and she's looking and trying to see if she can see any illusions.
She gives you a toothy grin. You're gonna try and see through her. Go for it, Sage. Let's see how you do it. You do have a light side point. You can choose to use a light side point. It won't give you anything other than amplified effect on my side. And give me a perception
I do have a
check.
talent.
Oh.
I do have a talent.
Ooh.
It's called Knack for it.
Mm-hmm.
When you use this talent, it removes the squares, the black
setbacks.
squares.
Yeah, setback does.
Yes.
Yeah, so there were going to be some, because she's different to you in a way. And how many can you remove?
2.
Oh, in that case, there's none for you. Okay, give me a perception check, and this will just be diff 2.
Okay.
And you can choose to spend that light side point or not.
I'm going to try it without it.
Okay.
Hold on. What is my perception? Okay, good. All right. And then you said difficulty 2.
Yep. It would have been 2 and 2 black, but...
Okay.
Okay. You focus on her, and you can't seem to get through, but the advantages I'll give you is that you know there's a through to go through. If you had failed flat, you would have gone, nah, she's a normal human. You failed to see what she is, but you know there's something.
And then she goes, aha! And then she gives her a hug, like, ah!
She gives you quite a again, this girl's ripped. It's only now that you've had like full body contact with her and a hug. She kind of goes, hey, don't worry, we're all here for you. And this girl is fucking ripped. Absolutely ripped. It's the first chance you've ever been able to get. I mean, you did see her when she was working out, and okay, she's fit. She's got fit set of curves and stuff like that. But honestly, it's like hugging a statue.
And then she's gonna say, you should have seen me, Carla. I did it. She just like kicks in the air and is like, thank you.
Huge toothy grin on Carla, and she goes, I knew you were going to be able to step up. I knew you all were going to be able to step up. Even Star, I mean, he leads with the heart, man. You know, he's a good kid, you know? So, okay, stuff I can tell you. Yes, you all got powers, right?
Okay.
But it's more complex than that. It's fragile. Yeah, you kind of get them through self-discovery. You don't really get them... It's not like you learn the Ooga Booga and then you do it. Yeah? It's... You got to draw it up and out of you. Now, it's all right for Knight and his lot. The stuff that he does, he just puts a fucking chip on their shoulder and makes it grow. And that's their power, is their bloody chip. Yeah? The more acidic, selfish, more of a bitch, the more powerful they get. Yeah? For you, it's kind of different. You've kind of got to see what you need to be, I guess. People like me are born with it. We know what we are at birth.
Okay.
Without stepping on Violette's toes, you don't get it at birth. You are all different. Different to all of us. And she gestures at the building around her. Most of the rest of us here, although not all of us, there are mundanes here as well, you know, just regular humans. Most of us are born knowing who and what we are. Yeah? And more importantly, why we're not what we are. Again, Violette will sort that part out. But yeah, and we're all here for you, because no, I'm not going to step on it. I'm not going to step on their toes. I'm not going to step on their toes. But yeah, most people here know. Most of the bullpit don't know, because you chose them. But even the people who don't know won't see. They won't be able to see what you do. Beth can change her appearance right in the middle of the bullpit. Just everybody just rewrite their memories, so she was always dressed like that. Star can open a door from fucking Egypt and walk through kicking sand off his shoes, and somebody will just rewrite their memory that the sand came from a builder. They have ways of denying we exist. Yeah.
Okay.
They see what they
I'm
need
going
to
to
see.
do a lot. I'm going to do a lot with this.
Tell me there are some people in security that have powers just for that reason, pointing to Beth.
She laughs and says, "Oh, mate, everybody in security's got powers. Me,
Okay.
Gus, we've been doing this longer than most people."
Just for your information, Kate, I was able to lose Carla and Gus in the parking garage. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Just saying. No offense, Carla.
It's no problem. You're the muse. It's going to be a problem. You're going to be able to get one over on us.
So, okay. With these powers, is it set like what we get, or like was Beth always going to get these powers because she's?
As far as I feel, it feels like I've always had these powers, to be honest with you.
Well, they're saying that we weren't born with them, but what I mean is that if this woman, she talked about a crown, a sword, a cup, and a harp, and each of us having one of these symbols. So, or something similar to that. And if that's the case, are each of those symbols given a certain set of powers that are always the same?
Yes. Each of you has a role. It's a story. Okay. Not going to go too far on this. It's for Violette to tell. It's their job, their role. Some people have roles, and mine is mostly a bystander. But yes, you've got the harp, which can become the book. But Beth chose the harp. She's the muse. Yeah?
I chose. It would have been his high heel shoe, like a Jimmy Choo or something.
You went with the builder, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Then Star. He's the faithful. It used to be called the servant, but that's not considered very not very PC these days. The faithful, the dependable, the reliable. And so yeah, he's got a mixed bag. You've seen one of them is what did they call it? Translocation.
Sure.
He knows when people need him and can get there. And he's so good at it, he can take other people. You've got a similar one. When you need to get to somebody who's in trouble, you get there just in the nick of time. Which is really inefficient. Predecessors of the sword have thought it's been really bloody awful getting there just in the nick of time. Why can't you get there to have some preparation, right? But it's how it works.
That's fine. I'll just always be prepared.
There we go. Right, go for the job.
Yes,
eh?
That's my
Kate.
job. That's my job, right?
It is your job, Kate. You're really good at it.
What about Ilka?
Stark and Ilka's more complex. We'll do that in a minute. Also, Star can get things, find things, and know how to do things like pick up skills that he didn't have before. But it's not as easy. The translocation really easy for him. If he needs to find something or create something, someone else needs to need it. He can't choose to do it himself. He can't serve himself. Yeah, but also it's kind of weird if you try to tell him that you need something just so that he can create it. It doesn't always work. It's what you need, not what you want. And weirdly, what you need can sometimes be frivolous. And what would be like most useful to you right now is actually something that you want but don't need. It's weird.
Mimosas are never frivolous.
That's the thing, is that when you've really needed one, like, you know, you're going absolutely spare, he can either, well, he could always make one. He can make the perfect mimosa when you want one. But, like, literally he can make one if he gets more confident, if you absolutely needed it in that moment. It's difficult. And also it's different for each faithful. Each faithful, each muse, each knight, and she looks straight at you, is different. Yeah? You don't know what you're going to get until you start doing it. But you can't do it in the hope that you'll get it. It's complex.
It's need, not want. I get that.
It's also what the world needs sometimes. What the world needs you to be.
What you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do.
This is more Violette's thing. But the other thing, and she gets out of the chair with a preternatural speed and launches a punch across the table. And as she does so, you suddenly just go, shunk, Kate, and catch it. It's a strong punch, but when it hits your skin, it's like your skin is super hard.
Right.
And she's there with your hand gripping it, and she goes, "Oh yeah, and you know kung fu, mate."
I would have known kung fu.
We got to teach you manually, Beth. The knight has a few things. It differs from knight to knight. Whether you're depending on what kind of knight you are. I don't really want to influence you. But normally there's part of it is knowing that someone's in trouble. The other part is being able to fight. The other part is kind of an inspiration thing. Not as powerful as the muse, but you got like a different type of inspiration. You kind of, I guess, pull out the achiever or the good in people. It differs. I don't know what type you are. That's part of us. I mean, we have to kind of talk about it now, but that's why we've mostly been keeping stum about it, is we wanted you to at least form. Which brings me to Ilka. Yeah. Ilka's a late bloomer. We saw you guys taking shape, but Ilka hasn't taken shape. Even now, the buzz is that she doesn't know her powers. In fact, she's taken a step backwards. We're not entirely sure why. And that's why it's important. Don't shape her. Right? If she sees that you've got powers and all the rest of it, sure. You know, let her think, you know, fucking hell, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Do it. Yeah, that's fine. But don't tell her who she is. Don't push her to use her power. She's got to know what kind of crown she is.
How come this is the direction we're going, and yet the bad guys seem to be all clued in? Like, they don't seem to be struggling to get their powers, knowing what's going on and what's at stake.
Because evil and hate is easy. People peddle hate all the time. Yeah? You know, look at them. Look at what they have taken from us. Look at them getting preferential treatment to us. Look out for number one. We're doing it for the children. No, we're not. It's the easiest thing in the world. Sow fear, reap hate. Yeah? Or reap oppression. It's tale as old as time. That's why it's easier for the fucking Dark Lot to get their shit together. Yeah? The crown.
As soon as Carla said, don't tell Ilka, Beth is like, put her phone down.
it's human nature. Yeah? Right? Take the crown. Right? We call him the usurper. He kicks the whole thing off. He's the first to know about it. He knows about it years in advance. Right? He brews and festers and really gets to know himself. Good news is that he's no more or less powerful than Ilka will be. He's just more focused on what he wants to do with it. Yeah? And they get a lot of downsides as well, but they do get to start it all, which is what they did. That's how he kind of knew that you were going to arrive. Yeah?
Okay.
The same with the girl inside. Right? She had enough envy and bitterness, and she wanted all of the effects and all of the affection and all of the popularity with none of the virtue or work. She just wanted to be famous for the sake of being famous, or loved for the sake of being pandered to, or to be sought after, to be lusted over. She didn't give a damn about the how and the why and the why would anybody like her. She just wants flat, shallow adoration. And that's what she can do.
Shit takes a long time to get to this. I'm well seasoned.
She raises an eyebrow at the well-seasoned and then realizes there's nothing she can say that that may not be misinterpreted, and decides just to smile at you instead.
And Beth gets it like, yeah, I know.
She's like, yeah, I was baiting you. I know what I'm doing.
I was baiting you. And and she said, I was like, well, I could see through her, and I could see through the illusions. Would I be able to do that all the time?
Yeah. Muses and sages. That would have been if you went with the army girl. Muses and sages can see through illusions. They are advisors to the crown, but don't look at the crown as you serving the crown. That's a human thing. You each have a role.
Well, I kind of helped her with Lilith. Oh, wait, Lilith. Is she one? I saw something.
Yeah, Lilith's one.
That's where she's gonna go. She, and you see her resist the urge of trying to grab her phone. She just kind of pushes her phone across the table. And to Kate, first time ever giving the phone to Kate.
Kate, help me.
What is this?
Song magic is up
Take
here.
Take the other one. Hang on a sec. I've got one that's unboxed. Take this too.
Yeah, it's like she wants to get on social media or do everything or tell somebody, but she's okay. Take the temptation
beauty is,
away.
Based on what Carla's just said, is that you could turn around and go, magic is real and I can cast it, and people would read, there's going to be a new Magic the Gathering film out? Oh my god. Kind of thing.
She's trying her, she's super excited about the news that she has today, and like it's like a kid in a candy store kind of feeling.
Yep.
As we're having a day of doing things that make no sense, I'm going to hand Beth her phone back. Say,
and then she looks.
The way this sounds, you just got to be yourself. So, be yourself. Oh my god.
Oh,
gets up on there. Knife.
It's like the kid that's been given back the candy bag, and they're like,
am I really loud?
It's like, go on, I'm gonna do it. You gotta stop me. It's in my mouth. I'm eating it.
So I go to Instagram and I put knife, fist, gun 3, the knifing, the fisting, the gunning, now in 3D.
This might actually finally be the lesson that teaches Beth some modicum of self-control. And Kate is like, why did I never try this before?
Just call her out.
Just like, go ahead, do your worst.
It's like it's like the whole parenting thing of going, oh, you only ever want pudding for breakfast. Okay, let's see how long that doesn't get boring. It's like
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And she just waits and looks at the likes and stuff. And sees it blow up.
The likes start skyrocketing, and Carla goes, yeah, that is part of it. When you say something, people want to hear it. And sure enough, you get an email from the producers of Knife Fist Gun 3 going, Beth, amazing, fantastic, of course it's got to be 3D, we've got some fantastic ideas, we're going to do it so that you throw the knife gun through the screen and all the rest, and they're gushing about it, as suddenly just you saying this has given them ideas. Be careful though, yeah, you can kind of overload the muggles.
Okay. And she's trying to think of what restraint means. What does that mean?
Restraint, what are this mean?
What even is that?
Siri, what does restrain mean?
I was about to say that for the G Overlord over there, but the G Overlord would answer. So, yeah.
The reason I said Siri is because I don't have Siri.
You don't have one, yeah.
So
yeah, that's it. I could say Siri, actually,
when she hears that, she's, I got to overload the muggles, and I just kind of turn to Kate and say, we got to prepare, and you can do this. You are so wonderful. Everything. Inspiration.
What are you planning? Prepare for what?
That we have to somehow get together and talk to Violette, and let me ask you this, Carla. When we are together, can we combine our powers?
Oh gosh.
They work off each other. Yeah. I mean, the point is that you. Let's go to Violette. Because you can see that she's struggling. She wants to say things, but she's like, it's not for me to say. And so she just gets up and starts marching up to the elevator.
Out of character,
and I'm totally taking advantage of being able to talk to her and try and get it out of her. So
yeah.
Out of character, I called Voltron in session 3.
There's no Voltron, but you are meant to help each other. And so, she hits the button, and after she hits the button, you see she does a gesture in front of it, and you have a feeling that she's just taken over the lift.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
Neat.
I mean, today is today. Let's carry on.
Yeah, it's a point where you're just kind of like, huh, fuck it. No, fuck it.
That's neat.
And I'm going to jump over to Star and Ilka. So, Ilka, the doorbell rings.
You don't have a doorbell.
You do still have to stay in the flat, but you are allowed to answer your door.
Phew. I will answer the door. Dun, dun, dun.
And Star is there with your favourite Costa drink.
Are you all right? Are you feeling poorly? Is everything all right? I saw that you run off quickly.
Yeah. Come in. Don't hang around on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I was gonna offer you a cup of coffee, but I see you already have one. So.
No, this is for you. This is.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw that you were. I'm guessing you're in some sort of distress or something because you left so quickly, and sorry, it's just been really hectic, and I haven't been able to get round to you yet. And I'm sorry I weren't here sooner.
It is not your job to look after me. I am capable of looking after myself. Please sit. Would you like a drink? I will happily. Thank you. Oh, this is my order. Thank you. Would you like something to drink? Maybe something to eat? I don't know what your day has been like.
It's been busy. Oh, I didn't even get to eat at the hotel. Oh.
Get uh, come into the kitchen. We talk. I prepare you something.
You sure?
I have
I'm
cheese.
happy to cook.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no. I have cheese. I have bread. I have ham. It will that do. I have this chutney pickle thing that the British seem to like. But yeah.
Bring
And to
out the
drink
Branston.
this yellow stuff, piccalilli.
No, nobody likes that. That's not even a British thing. It was made to taunt all of mankind.
Quite like piccalilli.
Why? This is
yeah, and to drink, I have wine, I have beer, I have rum, tequila. Oh, I have schnapps. Would you like some schnapps?
Do you? It's a bit late. It's a bit late for me to drink. Is there anything? Yeah, I'll do. No, it's a bit late. If I have caffeine, then I won't be able to sleep. Do you have anything that doesn't like?
I have fruit tea. I have chamomile tea.
Yeah, I'll
have,
do chamomile. Yeah.
yeah. And then we'll prepare. So tell me about your day. It was hectic, crazy, yeah.
Yeah. Why did you go? Are you all right?
Yeah. I'm absolutely fine. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I had this. I don't want to say run-in, but I ended up having.
You had running. Do you have? Is it the poos or something? If you want, I can pop to the shop and get you something. If you don't want to leave the toilet.
No. Meeting. Well, disagreement perhaps is the right word.
Yeah, the disagreement with the stomach. I get what you're talking about. Yeah, do you want me to go get you some?
No, I am fine. Like physically, I am fine. No, I had like this disagreement with that Mr. Knight. He was at the event. He said a few things. I said something weird happened. I don't know, but it really unsettled me, and I just could not. And like my brain, it was not like. I mean, I know
I get that. I think I might have a mild concussion.
Well,
I've been hit twice in the past few days. This isn't going well.
You got hit? I do not see any marking.
There's a bit there. I think there is. I don't know. I'll have to look in the mirror. But a security guard, for some reason, didn't like me. It's all my fault. I was trying to help Beth so I decided to use the drone. I shouldn't have used the drone. I was stupid. Yeah.
Ilka, you know that the reason why the security guard hit Star was that Mr. Knight told him to. He was a lackey of Mr. Knight. No magic was involved.
Okay. Yeah. Here's your sit. Just
yeah.
Breathe. Yeah. Breathe.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm just making sure you're all right.
No, I'm fine. So this security guard describe the one that hit you.
You looked a bit like a security guard. To be honest, it's all a bit of a blur.
Did you say you saw me leave? Yeah.
Well, you were there and then you weren't there.
When you last saw me, was it just
after
that?
Yeah, I saw you get in the taxi.
Yeah, and then you got hit?
I got hit before that.
Oh.
I was in the little office area that I had set up. Someone stormed in, hit me. Some other stuff happened, and then I was
Oh,
fleeing the scene, and I ran, and then I saw you, and you appeared, and yeah.
you got hit just before you saw me leave.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
did I not actually see
that,
you leave? Is this... Oh, do I need to go
um,
get my brain checked? Oh no, this
no,
isn't good.
nine,
Okay.
nine, star. It's okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Knight, I don't know, he said something to me, it was strange, but I am 100% certain that I don't know the word, but he got that security guard to
Instructed.
come, yes, and punch you. He said something to that security guard. The security guard's face changed.
What have I done to Mr. Knight?
I don't know. Honestly, I think he's a dick, and it may just be dick behavior.
No, he can't just be a dick.
No.
I need to. I'll
No,
send
no,
him his.
no.
I'll try and
Some
contact him
people,
and see if I can.
Sure. Some people are just dicks. You cannot change dicks.
Oh no, they all have their own separate points of view, and
No. Mr. Knight, I don't know what his point of view is, but his point of view seems very not negative, not evil, but something in between. Yeah. There are some people that you do not need to impress. In fact, there are very few people you actually need to impress. You just need to be yourself, Star. And also there are just some people that you just should not interact with. And I truly believe Mr. Knight is one of those. As I say, he made me feel very, I don't know, uncomfortable. It felt like he had sway over me, and I do not like that. That is not how I was trained. This is not how I brought up. I am, strong, capable woman.
does he have something on you? Does he?
No, he has. What is there to have
Does he know
on me?
about the airspace stuff? Oh no, did I make a mistake? Oh,
How?
sorry.
No, how? No one. I mean, other than us, there's two other people, maybe three other people that know about. No one.
Okay, yeah.
How? I mean, there's no way.
I'm a bit worried now. Are you sure he didn't say anything?
No, it was not about that. It was like, I can't say he's a dick. He just exudes like, I don't know.
I'm scared of where this metaphor's going.
He's a dick and he exudes.
He's just a Scheißekopf. Das ist alles. But you've been punched, yes, and your head hurts now.
A little bit. Not as much. I had Elizabeth have a look at it.
You do
because you were you had left, and I was worried.
Stop. Okay, look. Drink your tea. And you need some more to eat. Eat. Actually, you haven't eaten. Just eat. Drink your tea. Okay. I'll make up the bed in my spare room. You stay here tonight. I keep an eye on you. Okay. I check you in the morning. Then we decide whether you still should go into work or maybe you should have the day off. Yeah.
We can get to work really quickly.
No.
I can teleport.
No, it's time
I can do
for
all that.
No, you've had a hectic day. You've hurt your head.
Yeah.
And it is you. How about let you go? Let me go make up the bed. You finish here.
Oh no, I'll make the bed. I'll do that. I don't want to put extra stress on you. No.
Stop.
Let me do it.
Stop.
I want to do it.
Star, I know where the sheets are.
So does Star.
Perfectly capable of All right. I am perfectly capable of doing these things, okay? Just let me do it.
I know you are, but I just want to help.
Stop.
I don't want to.
Right. I will do this. You will go to bed. We will see how you are in the morning. I will decide then whether you should go to work or not. I'm thinking, judging by you now, no, but we'll see how you are in the morning.
I'm fine. There's nothing wrong.
I'm flipping a dark side point, and Ilka is so insistent that suddenly you feel, yes, I'll go to bed. That's what I need to do. I'll go to bed now. I'm tired. I've had a bad day. I need to be looked after. And I'm ruling, which actually takes you guys out of the Violette scene, which is going to complicate things even more, which is why I flipped it. Star, suddenly the last word of Ilka is said, and that is it. Suddenly it's like a switch, a binary switch in your head, and you completely give in.
I suppose I did get here.
Yeah.
There was. I also witnessed that fight with the magic-y girl, and that was stressful. And there was all that. Yeah, I'll go to bed. Yeah, sorry. Sorry.
While you've been like whittling on, Ilka's actually gone into the guest room, actually made up the bed and come back. So she missed part of what you said. Yeah. Come. I bring the snacks. I've got water, toothbrush, toothpaste. I spare t-shirts. Yeah. You make sleep, please. Schlaf gut. I see you in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Night.
A few bits of flavour. As you go to the place where the t-shirts are, you open up a drawer, and your own pair of pajamas are in the drawer.
Oh, you really underestimate Star. He's got his own pair of pajamas in his bag.
Sure, okay, I'll go with that.
Yep.
When you go to the toothbrush, it's your own. You don't even realise it at this point. You're under command to go to bed. Ilka, the guest sheets are pretty good. They're pretty nice, but they're a little bit old. When Star wakes up in the morning, it's like they are fresh, new, crisp, freshly bought sheets.
Star's fixed the sheet. Honestly, he just has a full sewing kit in the bag as well, and just overnight sleep sewing.
You don't know how you did it, but in fact, you probably don't notice any difference. Only somebody who owns them would know and go,
Yeah.
The hell? So we're going to go back to the elevator, being that you guys have got to the end of the day. And ping the floor just under the helix, the executive suites.
I would like to send a text to Ilka and Stars and tell them, your presence is greatly missed, and it would be really nice if you guys can come and let them know about Benjamin and the meeting.
Because I flipped the combo over.
That's right.
The messages get through, no problem. In the middle of their argument, they argue over the top of the vibrations, and unfortunately, Star...
it's gonna be really sweet with emojis and hearts. And all that cute
Star
stuff.
can't tell that he needs to be with you because you don't need him. And that would have been overridden anyway by the command.
That's true.
So the doors open, and Carla looks different. It took a while for you to pick up on it. The demeanor. She went from a security guard who, sure, would talk to you and stuff and all the rest of it. A cat can look at a king. And you notice now she's not just friendly, but casual. In the lift, rather than standing up straight, she's leaning against the wall. She's a little more slouched. I guess. It's just you just notice the difference. It's like she's a mate that's been around you for years. The door opens, and as you walk in, Carla kind of steps ahead, goes to the there's a little assistant's desk, and she goes up to the phone, picks up the phone, presses a button, and says, "They're here, and they need to talk. There's only 2 of them." Puts the door down, puts the phone down, and just walks up to the doors. When you walk in there, this striking androgynous figure, Violette, is standing there. You can see that they've only just got up out of their chair. The chair's still kind of turning, and it's almost like they got up to like get ready, shake it off like in the seconds that they were granted to prepare. Saying that, when the doors open, turning on their heel again, beautiful androgynous figure, suited and booted, beautiful suit. Different to the one that Kate has. Kate has very much a feminine suit. This is more, again, as androgynous as the one wearing it. And Violette turns around and says, "Please, and welcome." Okay, Carla, how much have you told them so far? Carla kind of goes over a bit of a recap and says, "Look, I said that you got to talk to them about some parts of it. Kind of touched on why we didn't tell them beforehand, because that's always what they ask, isn't it?" And they go, yeah. No, you did well. You did well. So, is there any way you want me to start?
Okay, and then as she starts, because it's gonna be like word vomit, she's just gonna change her whole appearance into like let's go Naomi Campbell supermodel.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are we going 90s Naomi? Yeah.
Yes, 90s Naomi.
90s Naomi. Okay, so yeah, you've got the kind of cowl, the low dipping cowl neckline, all that kind of jazz going on. Okay, yeah, right. I'm there. I know shit. Mm-hmm. Also, like Naomi Campbell. So, and Violette just gives a kind of pleased smile and says, "Very impressive."
Okay, full disclosure, I know nothing. Just only things that I've seen up until this point. Wow. And this is weird. And also Benjamin's coming at noon for a thing. So yes, there's that.
Yes. My assistant was appraised of the situation. We'll sort that out.
I am, and the first time you could see Beth is trying to fumble for words, kind of like Star, and trying to figure this out, and she's kind of nervous. Like this is a lot overwhelming, and it's just all coming to a head at this point. So she's what? And she looks at Kate and trying to bail her out. Like,
okay, yes. Magic's real. We've got powers. There's a war. We have to fight it.
That part.
Yeah, we want to know why we weren't told, but also,
we can't tell Ilka.
Where do we go from here? What are we actually supposed to be doing?
Voltron.
How are we supposed to do it?
Okay. Let's start at the beginning. So, there was a time when we, the population of the Earth, shaped our world a little differently. Some of the histories that you won't find in history books found their way into storybooks. something in the hindbrain remembered. Normally with those who have a younger soul, artists in particular, knew deep down there was something they needed to tell. That's not to say that all fantasy is real, but some of fantasy is real, which I think is a profound enough statement. A lot of the classics are real. Classic ideas. We were a young mind, the people of the earth, and our minds shaped the world in ways that we thought made sense, and the world bent around what we needed it to be. Or maybe it didn't, and we just saw it the way we wanted it to be. We're not sure. We weren't there. Even the oldest of us doesn't go back far enough to be able to know. As our minds, as we evolved, as humans, I'm going to use humans for now, it's not quite the right word. As we evolved, our minds became more fixed on what was and what wasn't. And the only people who could change that were the young. As each generation grows up, they change the world. They decide what is good, what is bad, what is acceptable, what is worthwhile, what is not worthwhile. When the world was young, it swung about and changed a lot. Now that we're more fixed as, again, I'm going to say humans, the next generation can only make small changes. So to make any change at all is quite difficult. So at some point, you started emerging. You four, specifically. And the other four. I don't want to sound like a film trailer, but unto every generation. But it's not a generation. There are spikes. When we needed Elvis, we had Elvis. When we needed the Beatles, we had the Beatles. Louis and Ella, Marilyn Monroe, and so on. There was always two mindsets that would turn up. And typically, it's good and bad. Sometimes it's hard to tell the two. But
so our hiring is not a coincidence.
No, we hired you before we knew. We don't know who you are until you manifest.
Oh.
And
I'm going to ask a question which might seem stupid, but it's just something I want to clear up, because this has come up a couple of times from the girl inside, from Carla, now from you, that we are these people. But I want to know where that line is drawn. How much is me and how much is the sword? Because you're talking about this as though I'm either some reincarnation of a previous person, or maybe I'm just inheriting the powers of that person. Right. What is going on?
You're not a reincarnation. What's happened is different. The world has chosen you to be the knight, the muse. The world chose. Typically the way it works is that fate means that you're drawn to us. That's about all we get for preparation, is that people who flock around us, normally people out of those ranks, end up being given the roles. For the others, and it sounds like Carla's already told you already, they become more self-aware faster. when we find out about you, we have enough time to do the trials so that you can start.
Trials.
Yes. The bridge.
Yeah, that's a question.
Bath bombs, I believe, was yours.
What did that prove?
It's a catalyst. It triggers you being self-aware of who you are. Even on a subconscious level, it starts you down the road to prove who you are to yourself, what you would do in those situations. It's a way for us to get you going. Except for Ilka. Ilka didn't turn up to hers. And yet she became self-aware anyway.
Dude, what?
Yeah, her damnedest thing. We were waiting for her and she turned a different corner or something. And we're normally pretty good at staying one step ahead or knowing where people are going to be. She went into a train subway. Down into the tube, sorry, not subway. No blunder would ever call it anything other than tube. She went down into the tube for some reason. And we were there. We have people who have abilities to know where someone's going to be. And in the last minute, she just chose to be somewhere else.
It would be a lot easier if I could tell Ilka, hey, you're the crown. But
if you did, she would probably start rejecting you. And that's probably not a good thing. I mean, you've got to do what you want to do. And that goes back to you, Kate. You are you. In every part of your glorious individuality, you are you. I'd like to make clear, the sword isn't going to shape you. You're going to shape the sword to what it is to you. You've been chosen by the world to represent what that means.
I'm having trouble really understanding how that's going to play out and what that actually means.
And it's different to each of us. Okay,
I know you can't tell me exactly how it's going to work. I get that.
I can tell you enough. I can tell you more than others are allowed to, because that's my role.
I think what I would like to know, I think what would help me, I don't know if this will help Beth at all, but can you tell us what happened last time?
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Last time we lost.
How many times have we won? More or less than losing?
Less.
Oh.
The others are ready. And they're ready to sow hate. When you win, you manage to find that spark of humanity in everybody that's willing to be fair, to forgive, to aid others, even though it may be against your prosperity to do so. To pull a little virtue out of ourselves. They look to reassure the world that it's okay to look out for number one, to make excuses for having other people in terrible, horrible situations while you thrive. All of these little platitudes that humans tell each other, that it's okay, they rejected God, your God, for whichever brand you decide to be on, that it's okay to be against those people, to not worry about them starving or suffering or dying. It's okay to put them and us together. It's okay for the poor to be poor, because otherwise the economy wouldn't work. Something that's been proved bullshit by economists time and time again. That, it's okay to have the 1% at the top and all the money to be collected at the top and never move anywhere. Because how else are we going to pay wages if we don't keep all the money at the top? Oh, hang on, there's and so on. It's every one of the 7 deadly sins, to use the whole Christian adage. It can be explained away with some sort of platitude. Thou shalt not kill unless, be generous. Apart from that guy. This is something that the other side have been sowing all this time, and now they're looking to put something out there, and it's subtle. As I say, these days you can only do it in small ways. So, for example, hey, that makeup's cheaper. Doesn't matter that it's not animal cruelty free. Yeah, buy the cheap knockoff of that thing. It looks roughly the same. You probably get away with it. And hey, it's none of your family in the sweatshop. It's why Excelsior has always been at the forefront of media. It used to be that the media was the only people that could get to everybody. Magazines on shelves in villages in the middle of nowhere who otherwise would only be talking to each other. And that's the problem. We can only make small changes in the world these days, but when we make those changes, it's made everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. There's shepherds in Nepal with mobile phones that are still on Facebook. You can get a signal in Chichen Itza, in the Valley of Kings. They pull out their phone. This has made it so that whatever change... There you go. Benefactor.
That's cute.
Whatever change is made now goes global and has complete coverage, apart from the children. Which is why you still emerge, not with every generation, but with every change that needs to be made. And the battle for each group, good and bad, we'll use air quotes around it all because it is just 2 groups. I guess it depends on your point of view sometimes. They are the ones, the people, get you to make the decision. You are the roll of the dice, but it's more complex than that. You have to fight a particular fight, as I did. I was one of you.
So you're one of the previous ones. You are the previous one then. So when did that happen, and what happened?
13 years ago. A lot was going on. A lot was about to go on. And we lost. If we had won, you would have seen the war on terror change significantly for the better. As it turns out, there are hatreds out there now that may last until the end of time, depending on how many other wins we have in the future. We nudge the fate of all people on this planet, one way or another. And we can only ever nudge, you understand? Free will is a thing. What we do is we're kind of a subconscious experiment. And you do your damnedest and hope that the experiment goes out in such a way that people may choose to do better. Even our wins have been shallow sometimes, and theirs as well. Live Aid, for example. They won that year, and the humans beat them. Damnedest thing.
How much not human
How much not human?
You keep bringing it up, using human for want of a better term. How much are we not human?
Oh, you're all human.
Oh, good. I was. Oh. Yeah. She starts touching herself like.
You're human. I'm human. Carla is not.
Okay.
I'll let you choose, Carla. Carla steps up, cracks her knuckles, and goes, I think I'm a good example. Violette
You're so wonderful,
gestures
Carla.
at the windows, and the windows all go dark. The lights build up to make up for the lack of daylight, and Carla just shrugs. And stood in front of you is still the tall, ripped, kind of, it's not really cornrows, but it's kind of braids. It's like a practical kind of braids, kind of small braids going down her back. Except now she's got green skin and 2 tusks, about that big, about going to the first knuckle. And she's got slightly pointed ears, slightly mottled skin, and you can see her hands are bigger, and you can see what seem to be like well manicured claws at the end of each fingertip, and strong. Her arms seem a little longer as well. And Carla waits for a second for you to take it all in, and she goes, we got a number of names. Trolls come up more than anything else.
I just look at her just like, and then I'll try to glamour myself into a smaller version of her.
The second that you focus on it, you and you're suddenly Trollbeth.
I am trying to practice. Now, if there's a way I charm people, is there a way I can scare the shit out of them?
Inspiration comes in many forms. So,
right.
I'm born this way. We existed once, like in the flesh, and we was on the other side. But as the world turned, so did we. We were outcasts until the will got rewritten. Yeah? When the will got rewritten, there was no trolls anymore. Rather
That's a
than
shame.
wiping us out of existence, apparently that's against the rules. We still got, I don't know, call it a soul, call it like whatever, spirit. So that even though trolls no longer can exist, we didn't get deleted. So what happened is that this happened, and she goes back to being this, again, ripped, beautiful African-British girl. So we just started looking like everybody else.
Yeah.
Thing is, it's weird. Not all of us end up getting the blood. So, like my mother, when I look like this, and again, she's not. She's got we'll call it a glamour back up.
Yes.
But it's physical. You wouldn't be able to feel the tusks or anything like that if you touched her. My mother look like this. I'm the spit of her. I look young. You look at her thing. So this is me.
Oh.
But this is me as well.
Oh.
We kind of got filtered in. What did Brian call it? A split reality. On both. Now I was born knowing that. You try that, growing up, not being able to tell your mum what you really are. And knowing if you did tell her, she would think that you were just, imagination of kids. And later on, when I'm older, she just rewrite the conversation in her head. Or she'd be there listening to it all, ask me a few questions, and then the second I walk away, she'd forget about it. Thankfully, my dad did have the genes, so he was able to teach me. Some people don't get it where both parents are asleep. They don't have the genes. Skips generations, and if your granny or your uncle or whatever can't go around and tell you, normally that's where one of the community will come and start chatting to you, letting you know you're not crazy. Our abilities go up and down. When a reckoning happens, that's you four. When a reckoning happens, these start getting better. I get more physical. I heal a lot faster. Gus, at the moment, he's losing weight. Ogre, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? He's losing weight at the moment because now when he eats, he don't put on weight anymore. His metabolism's grown. Yeah? Mine too. Yeah? I can pack it away now. I can have a brekkie roll in the morning. It don't end up going to my arse. Yeah, I can have a brekkie roll. It doesn't go to my arse anymore. Yeah.
High five.
She definitely high fives that because there is an amen up there. And that's a British brekkie roll, by the way, with black pudding, and beans.
No.
And beans, black pudding and beans on top of everything else.
Yes.
Egg in any form, because we are not picky about our eggs. Well, I am, but most Brits aren't. So yeah, and she goes, yeah. So right now, I mean, Gus could throw a car. You know, I can move faster, hit harder than fucking prize fighter. If I wanted to now, I could go into boxing. What's that new? This is Simon not knowing. Carla would probably know. Whatever the fucking cage fighting is, the female cage fighting thing, whatever. Ultimate fighting. Yeah, that kind of thing. She would go, yeah, I could go in there quite happily. And in fact, there are people who are in those fights who ordinarily can fight fair, who are actually having to tone it down now because the blood. Yeah.
Oh wow.
There we go.
Oh.
So, hey. Violette
so what does this mean?
Says, welcome to the world.
Are we? Oh, is there going to be a war soon? Do I need to put on? And then she changes into like the Muay Thai stuff.
Violette says, of a kind, yes. Normally something is fought over. We try to prompt it with Avalon. Avalon will be a way that we can project out into the world a little bit of introspection. We're going to try to get people to face the platitudes, to no longer rely on the excuses anymore, to see the world for what it is. We've seen it already. That news channel that you get on Instagram. Now this. Yes. Anybody can put an article into there. They'll fact check it, and then they'll send it out. They use camera footage from people's phones to be able to report news that the newspapers somehow forget to put in. You've got BBC, CNN, Al Jazeera, 24/7 news coverage, and yet of all these channels and more. How many times have they reminded you of the suffering that goes on in the world, of the hardship that goes on in the world, the injustice that goes on in the world? No. They are as bad as BuzzFeed. Yeah. Simon put a bit of his own vitriol into the story.
I see that.
Here we come back to my issue with Avalon. It's it's pitched as the truth, and I don't think we want to be telling the truth. Not after everything you've just said. The truth out there is that the world is a horrible place. That there are things out there that are injustices all over the place. We want to be specifically targeting a message that counteracts all of that.
Well, Kate, there's also a countermeasure that they're nothing but a data mining operation, too.
That sounds like Mr. Knight has started spreading his poison already.
Yeah.
Avalon can only work by pulling the injustices out into the light. Other people have tried it already. Lush. We had to check when Lush first came out that it wasn't one of us doing it. Apparently the humans just got fed up. And no wonder we're going in the direction that we're going in. There's a number of people now who just want to say enough is enough. Let people know. We want to put out a positive message, yes. But we also
so, Mr.
want to pull things into the light.
Is Mr. Knight like you? Is he the opposite of you?
No. Mr. Knight, well, yes and no. Mr. Knight came to me when he realized I was the previous crown.
Oh.
He came to gloat.
You lost your crown?
Once the battle's won and done, we become less powerful. As the world starts to heal and respond and digest what we've done, we only get a mild form of our previous power. It waxes and wanes, as it will for Carla.
I just turned to Kate. We can't lose, because this is... she changed back into Naomi Campbell, Elizabeth.
So, the battlefield as it stands. There are those that follow Mr. Knight. And I don't mean the four. Maybe I should start there. The crowns. Ilka and Mr. Knight.
Okay.
The muses. You've met the Dark Muse.
Yeah, I'm better than her. I mean, not better, just... yes, better, but,
I believe that you've met the thief. The rogue.
Oh. Did we?
He locked you in a room.
Oh. Yes. Is he like Star?
He is Star's opposite.
Oh.
Star seeks to provide. Star's soul and center is selflessness. He's the opposite.
Then I point to Kate, like, have we sword?
The opposite of the knight, the hero. We haven't seen him yet. And that's what we're worried about. Normally we see the villain first. The Dread Knight, the villain, the monster. We normally see them first. They tend to be a little out of control.
Well, this reminds me of a movie that I played a small but memorable role in. And we had to kill her. But he was on the inside. Maybe he's here. The killer's already in the house.
We've all been looking pretty hard. I'm sure we would have found him if he was already under our roof.
But did you have me looking for him? I played a detective once.
You're welcome to try. Normally the villain is out of control. The knight can normally handle them, but certainly the muse might be able to pull the wool over his eyes.
Obviously. Yes. All right. Detective Elizabeth, is on the job. We have to find the sword.
I've just realised that we haven't taken a break yet. So let's take a very quick 10-minute break. And we will come straight back with more explanation, and we'll get then we'll go back. We'll go to the next day and bring Helen and Joseph back into the game. So we will be right back.
Okay.
And we are back. Thank you for that chance to have a quick bite to eat and a bio break. And we're back into what is the plot exposition episode, because Kate triggered it. Violette leans back and says, there's a lot more that we need to talk about, but ideally we'd need everybody together. I think after the meeting with Benjamin tomorrow we can revisit this, catch them up. But what quintessentially do you need now, Kate?
I don't know.
Guidance, maybe, like your best advice.
I would like to know what it is we're going to be fighting for, but I don't know you can help me with that.
Yeah.
Sadly, neither do I. We've tried to put a tool out there. Could be used for good or could be used for bad. Again, we've had hollow victories before. We ourselves are still just trying to do what we can. You've seen how hard it is to change a culture or to stop people hating. I mean, we do what we can. We're trying to put a seed out there. That's what your victory does. It puts a seed out into the world. Sorry, it's the little owl puppet that keeps coming in to Charlotte, make me laugh. The battle is what you make of it. Has always been. I latched onto something, and I latched onto the wrong thing. The usurper played me and did it really well. I looked left while he was punching right. Now he's gone, and Mr. Knight has taken his place. We did.
So,
well,
look left, look right, and punch. Yes.
I guess there's one final thing that you need to know right now. We don't typically kill each other. Typically. In this fight. There is a different type of way of taking each other out there. There is a way that you can completely lose your powers and then rejoin the masses in no longer believing any of this exists. I am in somewhat of a ivory tower here. I make sure that I don't get put into a position where I can have this taken from me. But someone could attack me with their power, and I'd wake up tomorrow morning as Violette, a CEO of a company with a goal, but I wouldn't hear or see anything from Carla. She could scream at me what she is, who she is, and I would never hear. That's kind of the sad part of us. Just us, not people like Carla. We can die twice.
Oh. Then we must prepare. If I practice, would that be hurtful?
How we defend each other is our minds. To lose the heart, the sword, you have to lose it up here. Now, that means that whatever weapon that Kate ends up manifesting, your illusions can be as strong as that. And I believe that's what the girl inside was trying to do to you. She was trying to erode yourself. She was trying to get it so that the muse, Elizabeth, woke up the next morning as a dried up has-been.
I do have a question. I remember being side by side with Kate. It felt like we were working together, our powers.
Weak bowel. Sorry, carry on. Thank you. I'll write it down.
Welcome.
Why? Okay.
Scorm did weak bladder, so I thought I'd up one.
Shall I bring in the virulent super gonorrhea now, or shall I save that for later?
No. One night of that was enough. Thank you very much for inflicting that on me last night.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
Ed had to wrangle space cowboys and a scare of virulent space gonorrhea.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So, I will figure out how to get that in at some point.
Working together was where we were.
So, you have to just keep yourself. That's all. If they try to take you out, the villain will try to beat it out of you. He'll try to knock you out or kill you. They have tried in the past. They tend to be the most chaotic of the other side. But they will settle for beating the magic out of you. You'll wake up and that's it. The Crown will normally try to subvert you. He will try to take your agency away. And then when you've finally done something to show that you have broken what you would otherwise do, that's it. You explain it all away. It's gone. The thief will put you in situations where you feel helpless. He'll take what he can away from you. What's important to you. And then
I'm important.
The girl inside, you've already seen how she operates. They all have different ways of doing it, but mostly they will just keep their eyes on the prize. Most emergencies, most reckonings, they will do that. Just be mindful of it. I dare say they've taken a swing at you already. Well, I know, by locking you in the room, Beth.
I don't know how we're going to be able to defend ourselves without being able to tell Ilka that she's the bloody crown. I said bloody.
But spent too much time in London.
Yes.
Simon, stream assets. Yep. I just looked over and noticed.
So setback, GM's choice.
No. I mean, OBS.
OBS? What part of OBS?
What?
Helen and I have swapped places.
Oh, because Helen popped out.
Yep.
And you, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll
Yep.
sort that out. Thank you.
Yep, that's okay.
Helen popped out momentarily for during the break, and I did not notice that when she came back, she was in a different place. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't notice either.
I just noticed and.
Kate's taking all of this in, not the stream asset stuff, obviously.
Write it down.
Yeah, she's being very quiet and listening and taking in everything that Violet's saying. But I think she's going to need a bit of time to really figure out what is going on and what to do.
The cruelest part of this is that by the time you've got a handle on this, it'll be almost over. I would just say lean into it.
That says we've got to prepare for the up and coming meeting and existential war. I guess.
Be sure of yourself and react is all I can say.
I turn to Kate and say, "We're gonna have to get Ilka up to speed without telling her somehow."
They lean over to their desk to this gigantic phone with 2 huge rows of quick dial buttons with full explanations of who they are. They switch on so that it's hands-free and then hit a tannoy button and says, "Beautiful people of Excelsior, the sword and the harp are aware. I repeat, the sword and the harp are aware." And with that, they switch it off and say, "We're at your disposal. I'll clear my calendar, other than Benjamin's, of course. Make it so that I can step out of meetings. The rest will do the same. You'll quickly learn who amongst us is and is not."
That sounds ominous and titillating at the same time. Oh. I guess. And she says, "Well, thank you, Violet." And you can tell that she looks like her confidence is a little shaken a bit, but she's trying to put it trying to compose herself.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
And there's a thin smile that comes from Violette and says, "I remember when you were in my position. When I was in your position. I remembered being so angry. I was on my own voyage of self-discovery. I was young. And I was just getting ready for my own crusade to let the world accept me for I am I. And on top of all this, I had to fight a war where the rules were made up on the spot. I'm sorry I can't give you more. But
well, it feels like I've been given a second chance, honestly, but
Yeah. But ask around. You'll do fine. You'll do fine.
I feel like I'm scared of messing it up.
Yeah. You'll do okay. Check in on Ralph as well.
Wow.
Yes. He was my star. Ralph, is in the fashion department.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That dude. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of the guy who was in the waistcoat and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I like Ralph.
Right. Oh, I do need to fix my shoes. So, all right.
He'll do it faster. But then maybe you should go into staff at these days.
Oh. Where Okay. I think I've had enough for today.
This has been
I've gone
heavy.
I've gone this long without a drink. Oh, one last thing. You said that the sword manifests its weapon. Is there any way we can do that faster?
It's Kate. Kate creates the weapon.
Maybe I can motivate Kate. Can I motivate Ika?
Well, you are the muse. I'll leave it to you.
All right. Thank you. You wouldn't have a mimosa up here, would you?
Sadly, I don't. Sadly, I don't have Star or Ralph's powers, but I can make you one. Oh. And they go over to what is a hospitality bar and makes you the slow way a mimosa. It's okay.
I didn't. It's really. Thank you.
I just seen Joseph's thing in chat as well. No, Beth needs alcohol.
Thank you. And she goes to try and look at Violette to see if she can do what she did with Carla. With Violette.
You want to look like Violette?
No, I want to. You know how I just tried to figure out what Carla was, but I was unsuccessful, but I had advantages. I kind of...
Yeah, go on, give me a... This would be harder again. Give me... I'm going to go diff 4 on that perception check, but I've removed the blacks again.
Okay.
The setbacks.
I'm going to try.
Damn it. The yellow dice came through for you. I'm going to say take a point of strain as you really push it. Now that you've got this, you're kind of like, and you overclock your brain. And what you see, instead of where Ilka saw a dark crown quite clearly on Mr. Knight's head, what you see is this kind of circlet crown. But instead of it being made of light or darkness or whatever, it's more out of absence. It's almost like it's made of glass. Yeah? You see where the crown once was.
So when I see that, I'm trying not to let it be known. Mm-hmm. So I go to shake Violette's hand, but I want to give her a feeling like it's okay. like I don't know, use my muse powers to, reassure her or make her feel, I don't know, about her loss.
You want to reassure them about no longer being the active crown?
Yes.
Okay. Kind of like the... What do you want to get out of this? Kind of get them to feel like they can still do something in the world?
Yeah, they can still do something even with the absence of magic, and also that maybe to have, that to inspire confidence in our abilities, that we might be able to help, and that she could still help too.
Okay.
I mean, they can still help. I didn't mean to...
No, it's okay. Because I'm using the same kind of gender status as Raindove. Raindove uses they most of the time, but has no problem with other things. It's rather than specifically being non-binary, they are gender free, but they don't.
They, them, she.
So it really for Raindove, it's almost she, they, he, almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Give me a charm and upgrade it, because I've just forced a flip of a good karma.
Okay. Charm.
Yep. And upgrade a green to a yellow.
A blue? One green to a blue?
No, a green to a yellow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And the difficulty is?
The difficulty for this... I'm going to go 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Take 2 more points of strain as you end up hot wiring Violet's mind. And you can see a look of resolution appear on their face.
All right.
Yeah.
I just turned to Kate and just look at my phone, go back to normal Elizabeth things, scrolling.
Okay.
As if the meeting's done.
Yeah.
The rest of the night for you guys is, I should imagine, a huge amount of what the fuck going on.
To be fair, I think Kate needs to fucking think about this for a while. So she's going to head back to her office and get changed into her running gear and go for a run.
Okay. So I'm going to get you to do an athletics roll. Okay. And
I have no idea if I'm good at that.
I'm going to trigger weak bladder so that you...
I don't run for long.
It's more a case of going, oh God, have I got a water infection or something like that as you're running, which is the worst place to have that.
Right.
And this is your recovery roll. This is you taking all this what the fuck and returning to something that you have control over. It's a psychologically very important role.
I kind of hope I fail it based on what you've just said.
And I'm going to flip a dark side.
Okay.
So the difficulty for this, being it's something that you've done before and all the rest of it, it's only 2. But that upgrade makes it 1 red, 1 purple,
1 black.
1 black. Okay. And just give me an athletics roll, and this is whether or not you manage to get into that, or what used to be called the Nike mindset. It's the advert where they're running and getting back into their own head. So yeah, I want you to do that, and let's see how it goes. Okay.
Still have no idea what any of this means when it rolls.
That's a success and 3 threats. So you succeeded in the thing you intended to do. You get back into a state where you're feeling in control. And as you do so, despite the fact that your bladder is fucking caning by the end of it, and you do end up having to go find the conveniences, you do notice that you eat up a lot of ground. A hell of a lot of ground. If I had more time, I would have got you to run to the nearest crime where somebody is a victim. But
I was actually thinking of that. That was sort of like get Kate back to a point where she feels like she's in control, and then she's going to try her. All right, then. Let's check this out. Who needs my help right now?
Yeah. Well, you can do that because you succeeded. With the threats, I'm going to say that if you're trying this now, I'm going to convert all the threats and boost the weak bladder. If you're trying to do this now before finding the convenience, you are on 3 setback dice to everything you're doing.
No, that's not how I pictured it. What I pictured was that Kate was going for a run to get her head straight. Yeah. And then when her head was straight, she would be, at that point, she'd be like, right, okay, now I'm accepting this. Now I'm okay with this. Now we need to test it. Now we need to go, how does this work? What can I actually do?
Okay.
Yeah. So so the way I look at it, she would have gone before she would have finished her run before she tried it out, and she would certainly would try it out While she still needed a loo. No.
Right. Okay, so yeah, you relieve that particular part of it all. You can still feel like going, oh god, okay,
Yeah.
I might have to get something for this. So I'll bring you back down to the 1 setback dice then.
Okay.
And what are you going to do? How do you want to try this out?
I think she's going to try and remember how she felt when she was looking for Beth in the hotel, when she got that image of where to go when someone needing her. So she's going to try and go back to that and just. I mean, she's going to try and physically relax into it because she probably hasn't quite grasped the idea that this is all a mental thing.
Okay. I'm going to do a content warning, and that is that you're going to go rescue somebody who's in a bad situation.
Okay.
And the content warning I'm going to give for advance for anybody who's watching is domestic violence.
Okay.
You reach out into the world, and you can see nothing different. Feel nothing different. And then your stomach lurches, and not because of the weak bladder, just in a direction. Just this sickening feeling coming from a certain direction. If colours were nausea, it would be like looking at a billboard of nausea in that direction, and then being able to look away. A moment of disgust, imbalance, disharmony. And you find yourself running again, still in your running gear. And you start to picture yourself doing things that you wouldn't normally do. I don't think parkour is part of Kate's backstory. And yet you jump and slide across a bonnet, the type of thing that Kate would never do. The thing that Beth has done a million times and a million different movies. You just end up doing it because the fucking thing was in your way. Straight off the car bonnet, you hop, skip and jump onto a bin, then a typical British red mailbox, and then over the fence. You cut down an alleyway that you didn't even know that was there, and start charging down an alleyway. This is one of those kind of alleyways where the gardens back onto each other and there's a strip among the middle. And you don't even know which garden you need until suddenly this sickening feeling lurches to the right, and you find yourself just drop kicking a fucking gate open.
Right.
The lock, you don't know how rotten the wood was around it, but the lock is just fucking straight off the door, and you hear the shouting.
Right.
Drunken shouting inside. The back door is open. There's smoke coming out of the kitchen. And you hear, "Well, what now, you stupid bitch? That's all we had." And you can see that a guy is about to hit a woman who's you get the feeling is his partner. He's drunk, and she's burnt a meal.
Okay. Well, I mean, Kate will sort of steel herself, clench her fists, and then stride towards him. But I mean, I'm happy to fade to black that if you want to keep it out of content.
I'm not going to go into great detail, but he was about to hit her pretty much as hard as he could. He was going to use it for catharsis, to just get rid of the anger. He was angry. He wanted to get rid of it out of his fist. What a cunt. And I don't use that word lightly. What would Kate have done?
I think at this point she would have given him everything he was about to give her.
You're going to punch him one.
And I know that violence doesn't solve violence, but
sometimes you have to bring people down a peg or two. So give me an attack roll and upgrade it. The diff is always 2 when hitting a human being. It's a fixed diff in this.
I'm gonna knock his fucking head off then at this rate. Or not. I mean, again,
the world almost goes in slow motion as this guy. And one of the things that later on, when you end up sleeping about this, sleeping and dwelling on this, is how much he didn't care. This guy wasn't striking with hatred, other than maybe a baseline misogyny, which, to belittle that with the words baseline misogyny on top of all the other things that this guy is, he was just angry, stressed. He wanted to get rid of it. Convenience. That's all it was. Striking out in anger just to get rid of these feelings in him was just that he was just offloading to somebody else. Just a petty and selfish act. He didn't see you coming. Neither did the victim. She was ready for another black eye, another broken nose. And suddenly you came in like a fucking steam train. You knock him not only cold, but through the fucking door. Into the living room. He ends up arse over tit over the sofa and out for the rest of the day. When the woman looks up at you, and I think this is important, do you say anything to her?
No, because there's nothing you can say in this situation, really. There's nothing that's going to change this. This isn't the end of it. One punch isn't going to stop this from happening again. Unless, Kay's not going to say anything. I think she's just going to turn around and walk out at that point.
She looks at you wordlessly and just nods. Just and just looks a little ashamed. And that's where
inspiration.
Maybe.
But yeah, you knock him the fuck out.
Okay.
And in some cases, that's all you can do when you're helping people, is to just give them an opportunity to help themselves. Sometimes it's not enough, but yeah. As you walk away, you can see that you've left behind 2 acts of almost superhuman, not almost, superhuman strength, to use the literal term. Not necessarily Superman-based, but the literal super meaning more than human strength. And something occurs to you on the way out, and you just try to... It's just a piece of wood in the alleyway. Looks like it's a table leg or something. You try to break it, you can't break it. You'd have to put it up against the wall and jump on it a bit. It's a thick fucking table leg.
Right. Okay.
And yet you've just managed to punt easily 20 stone of Guy. Guy was a fucking animal. Huge beast of a guy. You've just punted him, 15 meters? Single punch. The rest of the night, for many of you, is of introspection. Apart from Star, who got ordered to go to sleep, who sleeps the sleep of the innocent and the good.
Beth needs alcohol.
Yeah, just this list in your head, and you're like, la la la, alcohol. I should imagine it's pretty good for Beth as well. Beth has been told a few profound things, but the TLDR is you're amazing, and now you can make illusions.
She's going back to try and practice what she can and can't do. Like, all right, and try to figure out where the mole is because she's on the case.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
And who else knows that the harp is awake?
Everybody knows that the harp is awake. I forgot you said you were going to sleep at the office. Yes. Several people come up and say, "Oh, hi, congratulations," and all the rest of it, and says, "I know it's scary, but we're all here for you," and you hear that a lot. We're all here for you.
So I'm going to try and practice charming and illusions and intimidation. So
shit. Who do you practice intimidation on?
I don't know.
Bystanders, interns. Who are you going to use supernatural abilities to terrify?
I think
people in the bullpen.
Yeah, Kate would be very happy with that.
People in the bullpen. Give me that rainbow dash.
So you're just putting a grain of intimidation in.
Yes.
You find that after a bit of practice, it gets quite easy, actually. Yeah.
Right. Because she's from that showbiz mentality that you practice for roles, you practice for songs.
Actually,
or
you know what? Fuck you, chat. I'm going to activate weak bowel. When you say, give me that rainbow dash, the guy hands it to you and farts nervously as he does so.
You keep that inside next time.
Jesus! Thank God it wasn't the crown saying that. You have inspired him to hold it in and release it on a better opportunity. If the crown had said it, the guy would physically not be able to do it. Oh, God.
Get some anti-gas medicine. Do yoga, something.
He excuses himself and runs to the toilet. You have a rainbow dash.
Thank you. It just snatches it. It just starts petting its hair, like menacingly. It's trying. I'm gonna spend the day of probably resting and trying to do my abilities and seeing what else I can do because I feel like there's a war coming. I gotta prepare. It's like a roll.
Yeah. Wow. The rest of the night, as I say, is for some people self boot camp. Actually, not even self boot camp. You're pulling other people into the boot camp with you. And as I say, introspection, a peaceful night's sleep, and for Ilka, an interesting duality here of preparing for something supernatural in a mundane way. You've been told where to drop off the USB. So I assume that once it's ready, you send it out, Helen?
Yes.
Okay. So you send off what is very well written scribble. Yeah. Everything looks like I'm remembering like ipsum lorem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just like ipsum lorem, it looks like it should make sense, but it doesn't. Everything is just a bit wrong. Yeah. And as far as he's concerned, he's got the source code. You've given him the damn source code. And there's going to be a certain honeymoon period where he just thinks that the programmers he's giving it to try and, tear it down to its first principles just aren't up to the job. There's going to be a certain amount of time where this guy is just going to be blaming his staff before they assure him, no, it's bullshit. No, we've checked and checked and checked. It is bullshit. So you've given yourself a certain amount of time with Mr. Knight thinking that you have obeyed him.
Oh, well, I did. I definitely did. I was also going to say that because it was that specially encrypted one, it's actually, I won't have removed the encryption. I'll have put the code on. I won't have removed the encryption. Well, so his team will have to unencrypt it before they can actually access it.
To the tune of that encryption. Okay. I'll go with that. To a point where his asset will have to roll off against that difficulty. To see if they've managed to get through it. Yeah. So that's got you quite a bit of time. You've got, and I love the duality of this, you've explained away your powers, so you are further away than the others to realizing what's going on, and yet you've made the most progress by hoodwinking the other crown, not knowing what you're doing.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the way to be.
Sure. And that's it. You sleep in a number of different ways. And the next morning, the sun rises, and it's time for the two of you who are more informed to pull the others in. Problem is, one of them needs to become self-aware again. I did tell you that, and I will clarify this, I did tell you that you can have the crown killed. That's not what's happened to Ilka. Ilka just had a relapse because she's not just going to completely lose all her powers for the rest of the game on a despair. She's had a relapse, is all. She needs to catch back up. So give some thought as to what you want to do. I can't wait until I see Kate and Beth trying to get poor Star up to speed. I mean, he should be able to just accept what's going on. I mean, he can teleport and make things appear and all sorts of other things like that, but we'll see how much he bumbles over it in the next session. A very big thank you to everybody in the chat for continuing to roleplay along with us and making us laugh. And I got through Weak Bladder and Weak Bowel. I used Weak Bowel a different way. There was one more that was given that I think was good
Kate
luck.
Has luck.
Yeah, Kate has good luck. And I didn't find a way of bringing that in. But I will run that next week because there's going to be a lot more rolls next week. And I think a bit of luck is probably what Kate is going to need. So, a big thank you also to Dave, Joseph, Helen, and Christy for the story today.
And the dog.
And the dog. Yep. Special guest appearance.
Yep. So cute.
Please join us tomorrow night when hopefully a not knackered me will be doing the next episode of The Benefactor, and we'll find out what we meant when we said to Cora, it happened again. So until then, I'm not going to raid tonight. I'm not going to raid tonight, but a big thank you to you all for continuing to make this this adventure as blissfully manic as I expected it to be. But until then, see you tomorrow night, and good night to you all.
Bye.
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 Bye.